you, that is a dragon, and this is the brand new update for the Realm of Thrones Game of Thrones modification for Mount & Blade to a Bannerlord. And in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at all the brand new changes in this massive 4.0 update. You can currently get access to this beta build of the branch if you go ahead and subscribe to their Patreon. However, it will be made available for free for everybody in a couple of weeks' time once they've kind of gone through all the bugs and crashes and sorted them out, so everybody gets a much smoother experience. So let's start off with obviously what all you guys are here to see, and that is the goddamn dragon. So this is obviously on the campaign map as well as on the battle map. If we jump into battle against these broken men who are definitely broken from seeing my dragon loom towards them, you guys will be able to see exactly how it works, and it is actually pretty impressive. The developers have been working pretty hard on this, so it's extremely impressive to see kind of their work come to fruition. However, keep in mind this dragon is still very much in need of some balancing, and it's kind of a fine line, right? Because you want this thing to be extremely imposing and scary and dealing tons of damage, but you also don't want it to take out all the fun from the game. So I think, of course, we're going to be seeing differences in the actual balancing of this dragon for a couple patches to come. So let's dive into a battle now. You can see on the campaign map, this is how you wield the dragon. And again, I think the developers have done an absolutely awesome job of moving it around. The animations look really, really smooth. If I go ahead and do this and click play, you guys can see it. It looks really good. They've done a great job considering, you know, this game is never meant for something like this. It's really impressive to see exactly how it works. And yeah, the animator and the guy who created this did a great job. You can go up, I believe. Yeah, you can go up if you do this and kind of take to the skies, and you can also go down as well by just simply pressing space. So there's pretty nice maneuverability. I think there is also a way to actually kind of mount this on the ground. I actually couldn't find the hotkey for it, but I believe I have seen footage of that, which is very cool. You can also go into first person mode and look around like this, which again looks pretty cool. And you can press F and actually breathe fire. So yeah, like that, you can see the fire being breathed on it, which is very cool. Again, if I zoom out, you guys can see that in all of its glory. Then we get away from here, and you can utilize that to obviously take out these looters. So if we go and get closer to the ground, I will flip around and I will just burn these guys alive. Now, the dragon fire is extremely OP. And yeah, we'll do tons of damage if we get it off. There we go. Yeah, you have to kind of angle it a little bit as well. You can also, yeah, just smash them. If you get close enough as well, your wings completely take them out. So I wasn't fully down. Let's turn around, breathe fire there, and hit them. And you can see just getting absolutely demolished by that burning in the fire, which is, yeah, pretty awesome. We can even dismount as well. Just take him out with our Valyrian steel blade, and you guys get another little glimpse of the dragon, which I think they've done a great job of. It looks awesome. So yeah, as of right now, we have a Drogon right there. You can see we have just normal flying dragons. We have flying golden dragons. Oh, okay, so I get it now. So that's how it is. So I think these basic ones are just fully mounted ones. So these ones will just be stationary on the ground, and the flying ones allow you to fly. I imagine later on down the line, there will be some sort of like hybrid mode where you can probably switch between the modes, almost like how you switch a weapon. You can either go into flying mode or ground mode. We obviously also have a few of the other fabled dragons as well, looking very good. At the moment, it is mainly just color change, but I'm sure as this, you know, is the first iteration of this mechanic, we'll be seeing plenty more of the dragons and plenty more of the, you know, kind of the differences in them, different sizes. I'm sure there'll be plenty of stories and quest lines that kind of go ahead and change kind of alongside all of that. Yeah, so look at that. Just because I've chosen Drogon on ground, you can see we are now kind of mounted on the ground on the campaign map, and I assume it'll be the same in battle. Then if I was to quickly change that up, so again, if I go into the inventory, then I switch out for a flying Drogon, and then all of a sudden, boom, look at that, we're flying. That's very interesting the way they've done that. Yeah, which is pretty cool, and I guess it'd be interesting to see how you go about that as well. So as of right now, as we are again on Drogon right there, oh my god, that looks great. Look at that. That looks awesome. The animation on this is yeah, really impressive. They've done a great job there as we just take hundreds of arrows, and now it is time to burn, baby. Oh wow. Okay, yeah, the mounted Drogon Yeah, that fire is insane. But again, you kind of want this to be as deadly as it is, really. Yes, it's very interesting. I would not like to be the balancers having to deal with this and figure out how these beasts are actually going to work in battle because, yeah, you want them to be OP, but you also don't take out the fun. It's going to be interesting. Right now, the only way I think to obtain the dragons is to basically go and defeat Daenerys Targaryen all the way over in Essos. If you defeat her and capture her, I think you can actually steal her dragons. However, that will pit you in an eternal war against everybody else, so, or against the Targaryens herself. You know, Daenerys will not sleep until she has her dragons back, and she will be coming after you very, very quickly, which is, again, is a cool way of doing it. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of other events and quest lines added in later on down the line where maybe you find a dragon egg, you have to go to Old Valyria maybe and do stuff along that lines to actually hatch your own dragon. And again, if they could add in like customizable dragons and stuff, that'd be really impressive. One of the other things that has been added in this update is a whole wealth of brand new armors. We have multiple armors and weapons which have all been added. We've got new Kingsguard armor, Renly Baratheon armor, which you're looking at right now. We have Mormont armor, Hightower armors, Wildling Joffrey Baratheon, Tarly armor, Vale armies, armors. We have more armors from Essos. We have Westeros, more Essos armors, like I just said, Targaryen armors, Tullys, Boltons, Robert Baratheon clothes, Ned Stark clothes, Blackfire, Dragonbone bows. We got Weirwood bows, Skull swords, and loads more. So there is a whole wealth of new armors to go ahead and discover and mess around with. And as you can see, this is one of the new armors. This is Renly Baratheon's outfit, looking very cool. So when you come up against him in battle, this is what he will be wielding. You can also see one of the Valerian cutlasses that I have along my side. Again, a very, very deadly weapon. A few of the other ones as well. I think the gold cloaks also have some new additions which look very good. We've got some of the Stormland Kingsguard armor looking nice. Even like the older Lannister armors as well. I'm not sure if this is one of the new ones or old ones, but again, it just looks really, really impressive. And the detail, and there's so much more to mess around with. Again, as you just go down these armors, you'll find hundreds of different new equipments being added. Oh yeah, they've also started adding in some Yi Tai armor as well. The units are great. So again, that's kind of a little glimpse, I guess, of the future ones. But here's one of the new Tully helmets as well. And look at that detail. You even have the fish on the top of the helmet right there. Again, you can mix and match these as much as you want. And as you can see here, we have a brand new Bolton armor piece as well. And I think a large portion of this update with so many new armors is coming down to the fact that the previous Trials of the Seven mod disbanded, and a lot of the members from that mod have now been transitioning over to helping on the Realm of Thrones side of things, which is awesome because they can bring over, you know, the appropriate armors and weapons and stuff and kind of just put all their efforts into one big project, which I think a lot of people were really excited for. Again, obviously this is going to be a Lord or highly elite armor. There's Bolton Mail and there's several other equipments for the Boltons to use. So again, not everyone is going to be running around in crazy armor. You kind of do need a whole wealth of different pieces of equipment and stuff so that units do look very different. And I think that's a nice little addition. So I think as well, one of the next really big things that have been added to the mod in this update is a complete rework to all the campaign map textures. So not only has the main mod developer been working tirelessly on improving a lot of the just ground textures, a lot of the lakes, the trees and everything else along those lines. I mean, you can probably tell already, especially if you go off into like Essos, for example, which was pretty low detail previously, and now look at the roaming, you know, flatlands of the Dothraki Sea. It looks awesome now. It looks a real massive improvement, which adds so much flavor. So yeah, not only has the main developer been working on this, but also the creator of the Europe map has also been helping out, making some really unique and bespoke details on the campaign map itself. That's Lemmy. So it's great to see that he's now helping out on this project as well. Some of his detail you can see right here. Clearly, you know, just such a nice small little improvement to the campaign map, which makes these areas feel so much more unique than they previously did. You know, this is no longer just another northern castle. This is Widow's Watch, and it's quite clearly, you know, shown right here. And you'll be finding these details all over the north and beyond the wall. Loads more details being added out with farmlands. And yeah, this is just such a big step forward with these minute surrounding details, which, as I said, I think goes such a long way at just building up the landscape, building up the countryside, and making these provinces feel, yeah, really, really awesome. So I'm excited to see what he can do with the rest of the map as well. I'm sure, you know, the whole of Essos and Westeros will be getting a sweep of detail as they go further and further. Again, you can see the Eyrie as well now being built off into the map. Again, I think this looks way better than it did before, and it, yeah, really, really nice, impressive stuff. Yeah, and as I've mentioned, the ground textures alone look just like a huge improvement. So yeah, it's really cool stuff to see. I hope in the future as well they'll go through and start customizing the actual models as well, the architecture of the campaign map icons. I'm sure that's obviously on their list to do in the future. It just, of course, very, very time consuming. I imagine this texturing took them a long time to do, but it definitely does go a long way, and yeah, has definitely reaped the rewards of what they've sown. So already we've had a wealth of improvements, massive new unit upgrades with all the armors. We have dragons, we have a basically a brand new campaign map, I would say. So already we've had a massive amount of improvements with the armors, the dragons, and of course the real big improvements to just the overall campaign map, which, as I said, looks a whole lot better than it previously did. We also have a feature from the diplomacy mod actually being added in as well, and that is going to be the Raven system. This allows you to send a Raven to basically anybody to communicate them once you've met them in game. So for example, Joffrey Baratheon, if I had met him, I could send him a Raven that would start up a conversation. This will be great for mods like Serve as a Soldier and other stuff where you need to communicate with characters. So it's just a nice little custom feature that they've added in, which is going to go a long way, I think, whenever you need to communicate with anybody on the actual campaign map. On top of all of that, we also now have custom events in the mod. Of course, this is still very much in its early stages among pretty much everything else that we're seeing today. But this basically introduces unique pop-ups to assist in storytelling, which I think is a really good way. You know, Game of Thrones is all about its storytelling, and this is basically the first phase, and this includes Stannis Baratheon's plot to assassinate Renly. So of course, this is going to be a really cool new event system where the player is going to be able to interact with the story of a Game of Thrones or a Song of Ice and Fire in a very unique way. It'll be interesting to see exactly how they do it, because you don't want some random peasant coming in and basically declaring himself king or, you know, whatever them ways, but of course you also want to be involved in the actions and the ongoings of the Game of Thrones story. On top of that, I know the list just keeps on going on and on. We also have our very first custom castle in the game. So this is something we're going to be working on for some time to come. There are hundreds of settlements and castles that they're going to have to work on and improve and kind of fit the Game of Thrones, but this is kind of a first little glimpse of a custom castle in the mod, and they've done a great job with it. I imagine this probably took a long time to do, so to replicate this for every single castle is going to be, yeah, quite a challenge, but I'm sure something they can go ahead and accomplish, because yeah, it looks amazing. I can't wait to siege it and yeah, fight over it. More of this stuff is going to be really, really awesome. And again, I hope they are starting in tons of custom quests. You can already start to see some of the Veil custom armor right here as well. Give us more reasons to come to these villages. Give us more reasons to visit these castles, because they are so glorious, so beautiful. Whether it's having like tournaments in these centers and you actually have to go to talk to people, or quest lines, or ways to interact. I don't know. But I really hope they do go and kind of give us a reason more to come down to these, because they look beautiful. And it's really impressive to see the first iteration of their castle system. Hopefully lots more of this stuff to come. And again, of course, I hope it gets more represented on the actual sprites on the campaign map, because again, that'll just really immerse you in this world. There has also been some reworks and fixes to the mod, kind of fixing some of the issues that the previous iterations of the Realm of Thrones did have. So custom war mechanics have now been removed to assist the AI in creating more realistic war settings, where some factions have been limited to besieging certain settlements in the campaign, where the static war system will now be compatible with diplomacy, as well as having their own config in the main mod menu. So if we go over to the options, we go to mod menu and click Realm of Thrones, you can actually adjust what static wars are currently always happening. So if you want some factions to make peace, you can quite easily do it by, you know, kind of adjusting this. You can also affect the kingdom destruction as well. So if a kingdom loses all of its lords, you'll have ways to mess around around with that. You got jewels and ravens. You can again adjust with this in custom party AI as well for the Night's Watch and free work. Again, the free folk, they're kind of locked in, and the fact is again that nobody can declare war on the Night's Watch either. I remember beforehand the Lannisters was always go to the wall and take out the Night's Watch for whatever reason. The developers have also changed up and fixed the wealth, food and militia shortages in this stage of the game, which is cool, and also given significantly large boosts to certain settlements. So stuff like King's Landing will have more resources available to it, which should help the AI, you know, make it not an easy task to go ahead and capture it. As well as that, the bandit population has also been rebalanced as well to better suit the game. I think it's been toned down a lot more. Previously you would find bandits basically around every single corner, and now that's not going to be the case, which I think is a nice change, because later on in the game I think it just causes more issues when you're not killing them. Again, there's just tons of bandits. Something I'd like to see is like more like bandit coves. So I think the Rainwoods down here in the Stormlands, you know, in the original Warband mods, these used to be like kind of big meeting grounds for bandits, and I would love to see that represented again in the game. I would love to see kind of these big areas where you'd go to defeat bandits, but later on you can pretty much ignore them, you know, especially if you're on something like the King's Road or something else along them lines. I think that'd be a real nice change to a mod to have these kind of big bandit upgrades, and maybe even having like different like powerful bandits residing in certain woods. So it's kind of a nice task to go out and kind of seek these at different stages in the campaign. So as you can see, there is an absolute ton in this version of the mod itself. I think I haven't even mentioned everything. I think there's like completely new, Pentos has a brand new unit tree as well, which they get access to. Again, you can kind of see the start of it right here. Of course, more armors will be added on to them later on down the line. So yeah, this mod, this 4.0 mod is just absolutely huge. There is so much to mess around with and play with that you can really just have so much fun, and there's so much more to come with the improvements and the extra help that the guys from Realm of Thrones, Trials of the Seven mod have now moved over to this project. I think this mod is only going to get better and better and better, and I cannot wait to see the extra stuff that they create. I'm hoping we'll get elephants as well, so the Golden Company can run into battle with them elephants. That would be pretty awesome. And yeah, I think but one of the most exciting things on top of that is the new event system. Again, the more stuff we see from that, the better, more storytelling. It's all just going to be a very, very exciting future for this mod, and I can't wait to see what they create. So of course, go over and support the developers. I'll leave a link to their Discord down below in the description. If you cannot wait, again, you can support them on Patreon for like £3, and you get access to this test build, which is currently, of course, will come with its own issues. Granted, nothing major comes up. There's no massive game-breaking bugs. This should be released to everybody in the next couple of weeks, and you can of course stay up to date by hitting up and joining their Discord, or of course subscribing to my channel, as I'll be covering it in its entirety when it does fully release. So as always, a massive shout out to everybody who put so much effort into this update. It's looking really, really good. Go show them some love, and I'll see you guys in the next one.